two other quick things. One, the offensive line for the Titans, they deserve their flowers, and I think we're going to give them more of their flowers. Again, we've always said every Sunday it's difficult to evaluate offensive line play on a Sunday when you're watching live or watching the broadcast copy. You just can't get a good feel. You can get a good feel for the general. You can get a decent feel, I guess, for the general performance of the offensive line, how much time they gave their quarterback, how clean they kept their passer in the pocket, how well they did getting a push in the run game. 10,000-foot view things you can get. What you can't get is individual performance, and what you can't get is the intricacies of the responsibilities they were being asked to take care of, the assignments they were, how often the defense was blitzing them and putting them into negative game script situations. How much help was being given to certain, oftentimes you can come away from a game where you had a backup playing an offensive line position. And from the broadcast, I found myself doing this, being like, what? I'm pleasantly surprised. Well done, young man. Like a sneaky good game for the young guy. And then you go and you watch the game tape, and it's because, they had two tight ends helping him every single time. He had a guy on his left and his right. It was a three. I mean, he was literally being babysat by two other guys the whole time. Oh, maybe that's why the offense wasn't very good today, because they had two of their 11 guys babysitting the rookie offensive lineman or whatever it may be. But what I can say, again, from a 10,000-foot perspective, is that they deserve their flowers today. Absolutely. I feel pretty comfortable saying this was the best performance from the Titans offensive line this season from a pass protection perspective. They gave Will Levis every opportunity in the pocket to succeed. And kudos to them, whether they were playing harder for their guy or they figured some things out. They had some moving parts, obviously. You've got MPF in there starting at left tackle this game. First game he started over there for the Titans. Had a decent enough game, obviously, to give Will Levis enough time in the pocket. You had Chris Hubbard go down with a concussion, I believe. Yeah, it was a concussion, right? Yeah, concussion in the middle of the game. You had to have Andre Dillard step in there as the Titans' new swing tackle. Gave a lot of people some breathing issues, some heart palpitations. I thought we just got rid of this guy. Oh, my God, here he comes again. He was fine, and the offensive line did their job keeping Will Levis clean and setting him up for success. Now, this is part of the reason why I am interested to see how he performs when he faces adversity. Because for as much good as he did today, and as relatively flawless a debut performance he put up, any rational person has to have in their back of the mind wondering, well, not only do you have that honeymoon period that, you're assuming eventually defensive coordinators are going to get tape on him. He's going to have to adapt because they're going to adapt to him. That aside, what happens when you're facing a much better pass rush than Atlanta? Because Atlanta they've had a defense that has played well this year. We talked about it on Thursday. There are no slouches in general, but their pass rush is lacking, and they don't have a true edge that you have to game plan for, that you have to fear.
Real quick, the biggest thing is that helped out the Titans today is that the Falcons lose Grady Jarrett in the first quarter.
Yep.
And he does not come back in. So how much of a factor is that if he's in that game? Do we see him maybe especially with Andre Dillard having to go in there? Do we see Grady Jarrett get to the quarterback a lot more? Probably.
No, absolutely. And that's my point. I mean, you're going on Thursday to face a Steelers defense that is really opportunistic. Talking to some guys after the game in the media pool, talking to our boy Junie Riddle, who is a Pittsburgh guy, and he knows the Steelers really well. That's how he described them. They're an opportunistic defense. They're actually not great, and they give up a lot of big plays, but the defensive line is their strength, and they get after you, and they make you pay in really big moments. That's the kind of thing that I think you should be worried about as a fan with Will Levis is, we don't know yet what he's going to look like when that offensive line doesn't play as well as they played today. When he doesn't have players as open immediately as he did today, or doesn't have time to wait for the play to develop downfield to throw all these bomb passes for touchdowns. Obviously, any quarterback's going to be worse when the situation is worse. But there's it's a gradient with rookies where I feel like we got close to seeing today. Let me boil this down right here, JT. I feel like today we got close to seeing what Will Levis's ceiling is right now. That's not to say that I'm capping him on this performance, that he can't get any better. He will. But right this moment, what he's capable of doing in his first, second, third, fourth ever game with this Titan squad, I feel like we saw what was close to the best of it today. And that best is very good. That best is going to win ball games. But we don't know yet what the floor is. We have no idea. The floor could be a chasm for all we know. And it's going to take him being put in, a team to press those stressor buttons, put him in situations that aren't conducive to success. How does he adapt? How does he handle his business? That's where, you talk, to take an analogy from another sport. One of my favorite Tiger Woods quotes of all time is when he's talking about how golf is a game of misses. Being great at golf is not about how great your best shot is. It's about how good your worst shot is, not getting yourself in trouble. When a quarterback is under so much stress, or when a quarterback doesn't have players getting open downfield, when a quarterback is put in a game script where they're having to come back and not lead like Will Levis did all day today, and they're not on schedule on most of their drives, whatever it is that puts them in a stressful situation. How good are your misses? That's the question for Will Levis, and we have no idea what that is right now. And so I'm telling you, we're going to find out what that is at some point in the coming games, and that's the kind of thing that you don't have to worry about it necessarily because there's nothing you can do about it, but that's something to stay curious about, JT.
Yeah, I'm with you, right? I think there is this, as much of seeing Will Levis was good today, I think Thursday is an even bigger test for him because you're going to have an opportunity to repeat what you did against the Atlanta Falcons. You're going up against a defense who is actually worse in ranking in scoring. They're the 30th ranked offense in terms of scoring, but that defensive and especially the front seven is going to be a lot better than what you faced in Atlanta. Secondary, probably not as much. Like there is as much opportunity to go out and do what you did today again on Thursday. But the only caveat there is that they've got they have the star players on defense that Atlanta did not have.